guys, it's Jenny. Welcome back to the Crafting Bookworm. It is time for my October wrap-up. Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome to my new subscribers. Thanks you guys for coming and watching. I really enjoy having you leave your comments and all that good stuff. It makes me very, very happy, so I appreciate you guys. So for the month of October, I did read 4 books, and they were all, the thrills and chills kind of stories for October. The first book that I read was Murder Road, and this was by Simone St. James. And this was actually a group read between me, my sister, and my 2 nieces. And we ended up doing like a drawing. We all put like a book in, and then one of my nieces spun a wheel, and Murder Road was my choice, and that's the one that we all read. In this book, we're following April and Eddie, and they're just trying to get to this resort for their honeymoon. April falls asleep, and Eddie's driving, and somehow he gets on this road, and it's called Atticus Line. Now, they don't know how they got there. Eddie can't seem to explain how they got there. So right away, you're suspicious. Like, what's Eddie pulling and that kind of stuff. The author was really good at putting all these doubts and stuff in your head while you're reading. So April wakes up and she's like, where are we? And he says, well, we're on this road called Atticus Line. And something else they don't know is that in this small town that they're going through, Atticus Line is known for murders. And Eddie cannot give an explanation as to how he got on this road. He can't even tell April, I don't know, we're here. They're driving along, and their headlights catch a person walking on the side of the road. And they're talking like, should we stop and pick this person up? Because they don't know if it's a child, a teen, an adult. They don't know if it's male or a female. And ultimately, they decide, well, we're going to stop and see if we can help in some way. So they finally get to this person. They do discover that it is a female. She's grown. And they're trying to talk to her, and she's just like, very timid. She's kind of hiding her face a little bit. They're trying to get her to get in the car, can we help you, take you somewhere? And she mentions the hospital that's, down the road a ways. So they do manage to get her in the car, and that's when April discovers that she is bleeding profusely from a chest and stomach knife wound. And so Eddie and April are like, oh my goodness, what do we do? So they're driving along this road trying to get to the hospital, and then there's this big black truck just comes out of nowhere and chasing them down, and this victim just kind of softly says, he is coming. And now they're really freaked out. They do manage to make it to the hospital, but this victim ultimately dies. And so now, just because they were knife wounds, of course authorities have to be notified. And since she died, now it's a murder investigation. And they're all a little wary of Eddie and April because, they're outsiders. They're traveling through, yet Eddie can't explain how they ended up on Atticus Line. They also neglect to tell the officers about this black truck. I feel like if that would have been brought in, things would have been a little bit better for them, but they didn't say it because Eddie has PTSD, and he sometimes sees things. And so in the back of the truck, he saw a girl sitting. And he doesn't know if that girl was really there because April just didn't notice at the time that the girl in the back. She was paying more attention to our victim. And so that was the reason why they neglected to tell the officers about the truck. Or was it? Because that was what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't know what to think right now. So they do impound their car, and they're told not to leave, and they're put up in this really small Airbnb where this woman lives, and she just rents out rooms, and that's where they're stuck as these detectives ensue on this investigation. Well, of course, Eddie and April are doing their own separate little investigations because now, they're not saying stuff. So now Eddie and April are looking at each other like, what do you know about what's going on? Or what do you know about what's going on? Because they both have their secrets. And as you read the story, a lot of this stuff starts to come into play that you can read. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but you really should read it. This was really, really, really great. When I was reading the first part of this, when they're on Atticus line, I was feeling a little bit apprehensive just because of the way the author wrote it. Like, I wouldn't want to be out there, and I wouldn't want to be the one driving on that road and stuff like that. So, yeah, the author is really good at allowing the reader's minds to go in certain directions. So, yeah, it was a really good read. I rated that 5 stars. I think my family all pretty much enjoyed the story. I thought it was really good. Definitely worth the read, so be sure you go and pick that up. The second book that I read was Halloween Party, because I saw a few of the booktubers were reading this book. So I thought, well, let's pick it up. Halloween Party is by Agatha Christie. And I read... First of all, my mother loved Agatha Christie. She, I think, read every single one of his books. And I never did when I was younger. I didn't read Agatha Christie until I think it was last year or maybe the beginning of this year. No, I think it was last year. I read And Then There Were None. And what I can say about Agatha Christie's writing is that it's very tame. It's very mild. I've been subjected to books from Stephen King or Chris Carter or... all these other writers that are really like in your face kind of writers and not mild at all, not tame at all. And Agatha Christie is more tame. So I understand my mom's, attraction to her writing because I could never really see my mom reading something too over the top. So in this book, we've got these women are putting together a Halloween party for the kiddos. And I think it was supposed to be ages between 10 and 17 or 10 and 13 or something. Well, during this party, they've got all these activities for the kids to do. They've got dunking for apples. They've just all different, your normal Halloween games that, kids enjoy playing. Well, there's one 13-year-old. Her name is Joyce. And she's one of those girls that needs recognition, So I guess she's just not feeling like she's getting enough recognition, so she just blurts out that she witnessed a murder. And she was pretty proud of throwing it out there. So everybody was just like, that's just her just wanting attention. She wants people to know who she is for something, that kind of thing. So everybody's going about the party and they can't find Joyce anywhere, and someone said they thought she left. Well, a little bit later, they find Joyce with her face down in the bucket for dunking for apples, and someone had drowned her. And that is where the mystery starts. And they call in Hercule Poirot, and now not only is he investigating the murder of this teenager, he's also investigating this murder that she said she witnessed. So you got 2 investigations going in it. The book flowed okay. There were a few spots that were just kind of, draggy a little bit. But she is a good writer. There's a story there. It's just mild. That's just, um, how her writing is. And I knew that going in since I read And Then There Were None. So I ended up rating it 3 stars because I wanted to be fair on that because, it is what it is. It's the style of writing, and I just wanted to be fair with that. So that was Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. The next book that I read is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. This book was so amazing. It's a chunker of a book. It's got over 500 pages, and it was very different. In this book, we've got these talents, they call them, these children that are talents. And they can do different things. Like, you've got someone who can call on dust, or someone who can be invisible, or, stuff like that. Now, we've got Charlie and Marlowe are our main characters. And we've got Alice, who was an investigator, and she was called upon to rescue these children and bring them to this institute where they would be protected. And then, of course, Charlie and Marlowe meet Komoko, they meet Ribs, just all these other talents that are there. But they have to come together and stop the darkness that is trying to harm them. There was a lot to read in this book. There was a lot of characters, a lot of different things that were going on, interesting things, and just fantastic. I just loved all of it. Even though it was a big book, I really enjoyed it. And I had started reading that book when my family was still here, so I got a little bit of time to read while they were here, but then I, after they had went home, then I was able to finish it up. But it's a fantastic book. If you guys want something that is completely different, this one was really good. And of course, we've got these kids that are from all over the world. We got someone from Tokyo, and just here in the States, and just all kinds of different kids with these talents. And there is a direct threat to them, and his name is Jacob, and he is described as a man of smoke. So he is a bad dude, and these kids have to, defeat him somehow. And there is I don't remember what they called it. There's this place where other spirits can come out and invade. So, yeah, it was really, really good. I think the institute was Carindale, or it was called something like that. And anyway, I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch because I could go on and on about this book. Really, really great characters, a great plot. It was so different, the talents that these kids had. It was so different. You got your bad guys, your good guys. Yeah, it was just really, really good. And I ended up rating this one 5 stars. And now I am currently reading Bringer of Dust, which is the second book. I had no idea there was another book. It's slightly smaller than Ordinary Monsters was, but that'll be in my next month's wrap-up, or I will do my review on both of these books maybe. I don't know yet how I'm going to do that. But yeah, definitely a great read. Totally worth how big it was. The final book that I read in the month of October was called The Shadows, and this is by Alex North. There are some connections to The Whisper Man, which I also read, but only by, places. And The Shadows comes several years later, several years after The Whisper Man. Now, in this book, it's 2 different timelines going on. So, in in the first timeline is when our main character Paul is a teenager, and he got mixed up with this kid named Charlie Crabtree, and Charlie was into all of this stuff about lucid dreamings, and this was a very interesting plot to this story because I find lucid dreaming interesting anyway. And so that's kind of like our, I don't know, theme, I guess, of this book. And so Paul and his friend get mixed up with this. Well, there is something that happens related to this because they keep dream logs. Charlie teaches them all how to log your dreams, and it helps your lucid dreaming. I'm not going to get into all that because I want you guys to kind of experience that whole part yourself. But something horrible happens at the hand of Charlie. And Paul is witness to this, and it just scars him for life. He grows up in the town, and then when it's time to go to college, then his mom sends him to college, and he doesn't return. He returns back when his mom is plagued with dementia, and she is saying some strange things like it is in the house and just all kinds of stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all that because I don't want to give stuff away. But now Paul is grown up because he comes back. His mom needs him. And then we have Amanda, I think it's Amanda Beck, who is an investigator of some murders that had been going on. And it leads her back to the small town where Paul is. And there's connections. And so now she's kind of investigating two different things. You're going to go through two different timelines. So it's going to flash back and forth from adult Paul to teen Paul. And it was just an amazing story. I loved the whole idea of the lucid dreaming and how that all tied into this. And just a fantastic book. And you guys really need to pick that one up. I enjoyed The Shadows more than The Whisper Man, I think. So, yeah, fantastic book. 5 stars for that one as well. Again, you guys, another great reading month for me with choosing really good books. And I used to do, you know, like my next month TBR and choose my books and go with it. But ever since I stopped doing that, because you know your mind changes during a month. Oh, I'm not really feeling that one now, kind of thing. So I just come in here in my library and just pick a book. And actually, The Shadows, I chose because I was in here one day and my 3-year-old grandson came in and he was standing by this back bookshelf. And he just had his finger on The Shadows and he was just kind of tipping it on the shelf. And I grabbed it and I was reading the synopsis of that. I said, you know what? I think this is the book that I'm going to read. So my grandson actually chose that book for me, The Shadows. And anyway, just picking the books off my shelf has just made my reading months a lot more enjoyable than, you know, the standard TBR you choose for every month. So that is what I read in the month of October, and it was a fantastic month. I read a lot of great books. If you guys have read any of these books, let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on those books, or if you're interested in reading them. Let's have a little chat about it. But I think that is all for this video. Thanks you guys for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.